Come on, goddammit.
That would just make life complicated.
Over the centuries, as we've explored the universe from a scientific perspective, it's become clear that we live in one strange environment. Certain things that make perfect sense and are always repeatable present themselves and allow us to do things like build cars, use electricity, and make music videos. But from another perspective, the universe and indeed multiverse, should it exist, makes very little intuitive sense and offers possibilities that aren't so clean cut and often are a little spooky. So here are 10 spooky possibilities of the multiverse. Number 10, ultimate. Infinity is a funny thing, because with it comes the implication that if you wait long enough, then anything that's possible, no matter how remote, can and will eventually happen. This is simply because you have an infinite amount of time to wait for a chance occurrence. This all comes from a thought experiment and argument that says that it's more likely for a single thinking brain to briefly form in a void than it is for a thinking brain to form the way it actually did in the universe. While this is debated, it does allow for one odd possibility. If you have infinite time in the universe, whether it's that one or otherwise, then all things possible will eventually come to be by random chance. This includes some type of thinking being randomly popping into existence, at least for a time, including the most powerful supercomputer possible in some kind of universe. It even allows for such an entity to have false memories of a much longer existence than it actually had. But if such a thing were to pop into existence in a dead universe, far further along than ours, you might look at the blackness and wonder what the universe might once have been like. It may even do so to avoid madness. It could choose to simulate a universe, and perhaps even exist within it, to avoid the cold and the dark of its reality. If such a thing is possible, even marginally so, are we the fever dreams of an otherwise insane supercomputer living in the void of a dead universe running a simulation? I hope not. Number 9. Penrose cosmology. One possibility within cosmology is the question of whether a universe was actually the first one, or another in a potentially infinite series of recurring universes and Big Bangs. Originating with physicist Robert Penrose, this hypothesis is known as conformal cyclic cosmology, and it offers some interesting possibilities in that it may be possible to detect echoes or ghosts in a way of at least the last of these past universes. It could be that objects like black holes might have left their mark on the current universe and imprinted themselves on the cosmic microwave background radiation. And there are some early indications that this might actually be the case, but one other possibility is a little disconcerting. At the end of the last universe, there may have been highly advanced civilizations present, if the physical rules of that universe were the same as our own. These presumably would have been very ancient civilizations, living at the very end of their universe, and at a technological level perhaps as high as was possible in that universe. If so, they may have developed technologies far beyond what we can imagine, enough that they might have found a way to imprint a message on the CMB that might be detectable. If so, it would be a message of an age in excess of 13.8 billion years. from before our universe existed, from a civilization long sent to extinction by the end of their own. If they have received a similar message in their universe from the past, they might even forward it, perhaps leading to a layered group of messages from previous universes. If it could even be deciphered, I wonder what such a group of messages might say. Could we do such a thing in the far future? Perhaps all we could say is that humans were once here. Number 8, the strange mystery of the present. We live our lives in the present, the now. Anything else is in the immutable past or lies in our future. But for something so ingrained in our very existence, in reality the present doesn't actually exist. We may perceive it, but the concept is not really present in physics and the rules of the universe itself. But even within our own brains, there really isn't a present either. It takes time for neurons to communicate and message each other, no matter how small that amount of time is. In physics, this becomes far more evident. When looking across vast distances of space, we see objects as they were, not as they are. So when looking at the moon, you see it as it was just over a second ago. When you look at the star Betelgeuse, you see it as it was almost 650 years ago. And given that it's set to go supernova, it may well already have. We just can't see it yet. But then there is the question of the future. No matter what we do, we are always traveling forward into the future. And the universe allows us to speed that up, in a sense, simply by traveling at high relativistic speeds, or getting too close to an immense gravity source like a black hole. But nowhere to be found is the concept of an absolute present. Instead, it's ambiguous. Your present is not my present. And, in the end, the present as we perceive it only exists in our heads. Number 7, we might live in a black hole. One possibility in regard to the Big Bang was that it was in fact a result of the formation of a black hole in another universe. This is actually a more attractive idea than it might seem, since it does solve many of the problems presented by the Big Bang, but not all. The concept involves Einstein's general relativity, which fundamentally links space and time to the point that under extreme conditions, such as inside a black hole, time and space can essentially switch places, or at least become ambiguous. This is important in answering questions like where in the universe did the Big Bang actually occur, since we think of giant explosions as having an origin point, but this is not the case with the Big Bang. Its origin point lies not anywhere in space, but in time. Think of it like this. The universe is like the surface of an expanding balloon. The point where the balloon started to inflate is inside the balloon, and is not anywhere on its surface. So the inside of the balloon represents the past, but not a physical origin point from the perspective of the surface of the balloon, or where it actually started to inflate. This leads us to relativity. An observer outside a black hole can see it as occupying a physical point in space. The black hole has a location. But once inside the black hole, its location is not a point in space, but rather a point in time. As you move towards the singularity inside the black hole, it can be said you are traveling towards the future. But relativity breaks down here, so we can only guess what happens when you actually get to that singularity. We only know that the singularity lies in your future, no matter what. It may be that this is the creation of a new universe, where all of the matter that the black hole has ever accumulated gets expelled out into a new environment of space-time. One thing among others that this model addresses is the so-called horizon problem with the cosmic background radiation, which shows us that the early universe was really homogeneous, and it shouldn't have been. Now the natural question is, could you travel to another universe through a black hole? Not likely. It would scramble any information sent through it, including you. And there are still some questions that the black hole universe idea doesn't explain well. But if it is the case, then we are, in a sense, living inside a black hole. Number 6, worlds. What exactly constitutes our worldview? This seems to cut reality. But what if every time something in the universe changed, even on a quantum mechanical scale, then a new reality, or a new universe, was formed and split off from the universe we know? This is the many worlds interpretation, and could mean that your reality is always splitting off into alternate, sometimes very different realities. This would lead to a dizzying array of countless other universes, all sitting right beside each other. One might be different from another only based on the position of an atom. or entirely different realities where you exist, but under very different conditions, living a very different life. You may own a different car, or have a completely different job, or even more broadly, in another universe, human civilization may have occurred earlier or developed more rapidly and might be a galaxy-spanning empire. Or civilization may not have developed at all, and humans in another universe may still live in Stone Age conditions, or may never have evolved sufficient intelligence for technology, or we may never have existed at all, and the alternate world is still ruled by dinosaurs and their descendants, perhaps intelligent and spacefaring in their own right, all because in that universe their extinction has quite missed. The scenarios possible under the many worlds interpretation are many indeed. Number 5, the infinite universe. If the many worlds interpretation isn't strange enough, it turns out that it's not the only way for infinite varying cosmos of you to exist. This take on its stems from a building question within cosmology, just how large is the universe? The answer is we don't know, and may never be able to because, well, we can't see that far. We essentially view a bubble of the universe, known as the observable universe, because it's what we can observe given that light has only had finite time to travel to us since the Big Bang. But we know that the observable universe isn't all that's out there. The part of the universe that we can't observe could extend only a little further than what we can see, or it could be much, much larger. And there's increasing evidence that it is indeed much, much larger. And there may be no limit. It could stretch on to infinity. We simply cannot see enough of the universe to answer the question. If it is infinite, then many worlds become possible and in a different way. In an infinite universe, if you travel in one direction long enough, you will come across a very similar, perhaps even almost exact set of circumstances from where you've previously been, such as Earth. This allows for planets very similar but still different from Earth. But given that it's infinity, it also allows for planets nearly identical to Earth, filled with humans nearly identical to us, doing nearly identical things. Go further, and you'll see another such variant, and onward to infinity, meaning that there are an infinite number of such variants of you. This would also work for any alien civilizations you might come across along the way. You might find a planet full of intelligent aliens, and then see an almost identical variant the further you go. This would be a scary prospect if it were some all-powerful, hostile machine civilization that you barely survived an encounter with, only to encounter the same thing again, only slightly different. While it has never been established if the universe is finite or infinite, there is the problem of just how far you would have to go just to encounter a copy of you. It is beyond immense, so much so you likely could never reach the closest copy of yourself. And while controversial, the idea of an infinite universe is probably no more likely than a finite one. But one thing seems certain, the universe itself is likely much, much larger than what we can see, and as such, there will be parts of the universe that we will never be able to know anything about. Number 4, only one universe. Perhaps even stranger than the idea of many worlds or an infinite universe is the concept that this universe is the only one. This would be a situation where there is no multiverse, there is only the universe, and if it is finite, then it truly is all that there is. That's not too disturbing, and indeed has been a standard way of looking at things for a long time. After all, the word universe implies all that there is, has been, or ever will be. The problem is that the universe doesn't have to be the way that it is. There are a number of values governing the universe, but if they were slightly different, then the nature and behavior of matter and the laws of physics might be radically different. One wrong value, matter itself might not even be able to exist as it does. Even the universe itself might not exist, and under different conditions might collapse back in on itself shortly after forming. Yet the universe exists, and so does matter.
Hey, I'm gonna package up these phones.
Once again, remember,
I'm gonna make we gotta make like a present
universe
for these phones and stuff.
Then, once again, even more factors have to be right to form intelligent like us. And even more factors play in to make it possible for us to study the universe and attempt to understand it. And all of this had to have happened at exactly this time, since earlier in the universe's history, the matter needed to form planets didn't yet exist, and wouldn't if the universe didn't allow for stars to form. It's been argued that this problem goes away if the multiverse exists. We simply live in a universe that won the lottery as far as the conditions needed to support life go. Most other universes might not be so nice. If there isn't a multiverse, then ultimately all these ideas, known generally as the anthropic principle, accomplish is to say that the universe must be a certain way for us to even be here observing it. The universe allows for our existence. It doesn't really say more than that, but it does give us clues in understanding the universe. But nevertheless, speculating beyond that does paint a somewhat spooky picture of the conditions we live in, to the point that our very existence is highly unlikely. Yet, here we are. Number 3. Other dimensions. Our day-to-day existence is governed by dimensions. We move through our three-dimensional world, but there is also time, which is usually counted as a dimensional zone, where we are always moving forward in it. But it's been long suspected that there are other dimensions that are not.
I found some better.
String theory, for example, envisions a three-dimensional universe.
I found something better.
And there are hypotheses that state that things like dark matter definitely matters in another dimension interacting gravitationally with the universe we see. What these dimensions represent, however, is not so clear. For example, some suggestions for the existence of these dimensions include that some of them are invisible to us simply because they are charged up, and may have been more evident before the universe. Other options are that wormholes, should they truly be possible, represent tunnels through another dimension connecting 2 points in spacetime, or even as an explanation for spooky action at a distance, where two particles may be linked across vast amounts of space in what we see, but in another dimension, making one closely connected. What this might mean useful dimensions is not yet clear, and probably won't be without a much more complete description of the universe. Number 2. The destruction of the universe. One particularly spooky question about the multiverse is, do individual universes end? What would be the ultimate fate of our universe, everything that is? This is not certain. What we take is that it will simply become a cinder universe, filled with burning black holes and iron stars that will simply fade away into infinite darkness and heat death, where there just isn't enough energy anymore to drive entropy. Or, at some point, it could all start over with another big bang. But there are some ways it might end before that time. One involves the stability of protons. Protons appear to be very stable things, apparently capable of lasting for untold amounts of time, but maybe not forever. In fact, a lot of theoretical physics might be incorrect and they don't eventually decay. Eventually could be some billion years from now or far more, but eventually. This would mean that the universe would at some point in the distant future decay. But there's also a way the end of the universe could come much faster. We don't know if the universe exists at its lowest energy state. Think of it like this. You roll a bowling ball down a steep mountain, and halfway down it gets stuck precariously on a ledge. There the bowling ball sits, falling completely to the bottom of the mountain. But say there is a wind gust or a passing bird accidentally brushes the bowling ball with its wing, just enough to push it off the ledge. Then the bowling ball continues down until it reaches the bottom of the mountain and stops there, and there is no way for it to go any further. The universe may be a bowling ball on a ledge, and if some event upsets the current state of affairs, the universe could tunnel to a lower energy state. This would be catastrophic on an almost unimaginable scale. It would lead to a wave of destruction propagating through the universe at the speed of light, for which there would be no warning beforehand. Left in its wake would be new, altered laws of physics, matter in a different configuration, and everything we know would be utterly destroyed and reconfigured. The only consolation in this scenario is that it would occur at the speed of light, as fast can be, so we never know what it is. Number 1. The unexplained. One big problem with multiverse and any universe is that as much as we try, there are mysteries that we may simply never be able to solve. The multiverse itself is one since it may not be possible
Yep.
to measure. We may never even know
what?
anything about it if it even exists. And as far as the universe goes, there are many unanswered questions that may remain
You're
unanswered.
strong.
So here are a few questions of physics that we may never
Wow,
understand.
it's fine, no way.
What is carrying forward? The arrow only points in one direction, the future. But there's seemingly no reason for this other than entropy. Most other things, such as gravity, can be run backwards and look the same. Another question is the nature of dark matter and dark energy. We see the effects of both in the universe, but not what's actually creating the effect. It's possible that they are forms of matter and energy, but it's also been suggested that they might instead be the effects of a fifth unknown force in the universe. Why is there far more matter in the universe than antimatter? Why does the moon almost perfectly eclipse the sun from the vantage point of Earth, right exactly at the same time that there happens to be a civilization living on Earth that can understand what it is? The list goes on, but as one final mystery to make you go on this fine Halloween evening, I offer one more perhaps unexplicable feature of this universe. It's called the axis of evil, and it represents a strange feature in the cosmic microwave background radiation. This radiation should be the same in the direction you look, and it is, mostly. The same goes for the universe. It should look more or less the same in any direction you look, and it does, mostly. This is the perfect that we have no particularly special vantage point in the universe. But maybe that's wrong. The cosmic microwave background radiation does come in elements. For example, we have a cities very slightly cooler than the Earth, and there are others, and they all correlate to the flame of our solar system. This should not be, and for a long time scientists wondered if there was an observation there, or if things were being interpreted. That was until 2020, when the observations of the anomalies were confirmed with completely different instruments. Apparently, our position in the universe is not something very special, or at least unlikely. What this means is yet another unknown. Thanks for listening. I am Teachers in Science Fiction author John Michael Godier, currently eyeing my cache of Halloween candy suspiciously. I do this every year. I buy tons, intending to stock up on sweets for the entirety of the coming year. But there is an anomaly. It never lasts that long, sometimes not even half that time. It's certainly not me. I blame dark matter, and be sure to check out my books at your favorite online book retailer, and subscribe to my channels for regular in-depth explorations into the interesting, weird, and unknown aspects of this amazing universe in which we live. Answering the question of creation turned out to be a bit more difficult than was originally envisioned when the study first began decades ago. At first, it was a matter of pulling a giant unidirectional beacon blasting out high-energy messages, much like what we saw in movie Contact. But as we turned through the process of searching, it became evident that such a scenario was, in a way, wishful thinking. We have seen no such unambiguous beacons, and thinking on just why civilization would expend massive amounts of energy on a signal was changed. It's very likely to be far more subtle than that, and that any intentional message would be beamed directly at us. But beacons aren't the only game in town. Since the advent of SETI and other technostructures began on Earth, now we can look for laser emissions, industrial chemicals, atmospheric spectral lines, Dyson swarms, and a host of other signatures that would tell us that there are alien civilizations out there. When and if we ever do find them, it will then be a matter of envisioning what they are like, going on whatever we about them. My guest today specializes in just that, envisioning alien civilizations.
Welcome to Overwater Island with John Michael Godier.
Danny, food is ready.
Okay. Ooh, that looks good, babe. Damn right.
In today's special episode, you'll be joined by longtime friend Isaac Carter, host of Science and Futurism with Isaac Carter, and physicist and futurist Isaac explores the possibilities
Okay, got
Science fiction.
both phones
Equals exploration.
straightened out. Got a bag, got paper. Good enough. Whew.
Isaac Carter, welcome back to the program. John, Isaac, what first brought the Burning Paradox to your attention? How long have you been looking at it?
I don't know when I first came to get away on the phone, probably in the early 2000s, but I
Oh, we got that habanero salsa?
a lot of times in the
It's hot.
Yes. I got it.
Take two.
I could have thought the early 2000s when I first came to the actual phone and contest, but one of the things we watch a lot of sci-fi, just stuff wondering, why these different civilizations and this way they all the things that I did in the show, they're always got so Japanese companies naturally gave me a lot of
Hello everybody, welcome to another Mega Project video. This one's all about a bomb, it's a particularly large bomb. It's the largest non-nuclear bomb I believe. Ollie has written us a script, so let's get into it, shall we? On the 13th of April 2017, a terrifying object drifted down from the sky towards Cave Complex in Achin District, Nangarhar Province in Afghanistan. There was a peaceful calm on the ground before hell arrived. What was falling that day was not just a bomb. It was the largest non-nuclear device in the powerful arsenal of the United States. It wasn't just a bomb, it was the GBU-43/B MOAB, the mother of all bombs. Now, this isn't quite a complete history of bombs, that would take forever, but let's begin. In 1945, bombs fundamentally changed during World War II. The two devices that detonated above Hiroshima and Nagasaki caused the kind of devastation the world had never seen. Perhaps whole cities could now be irrelevant. A single bomb was a truly terrifying incident with the Japanese emperor announcing the country of surrender a week after the bombing of Nagasaki. With that, the age of the nuclear bomb arrived. As we've seen time and time again, right here on Mega Project, the Cold War was filled with countless cases of one-upmanship, leading to glorious opportunities for Mega Project videos here in the future. The US and the USSR, they battled each other for prestige considerably more than they ever did in real life. The need to get bigger and better than the other was a common trait across the decade, and it certainly played a part in the Soviet Union snagging fortunes and amid its collapse. In their development of nuclear bombs, both nations built the kinds of nuclear weapons that would make the devices dropped on Japan seem like firecrackers. The largest US nuclear bomb was the B-41 with a massive 20-ton megaton node. Roughly 500 of these were developed between 1960 and 1962. It's a bit excessive, guys. Each one of these with a power of over 1,900 tons.
Okay.
However, the B-41 did not hope to match the monster that emerged in the Soviet Union. The Tsar bomber was first tested on the 30th of October 1961 over Novaya Zemlya Island in the Russian Arctic Sea. Detonated 4 kilometers in the air, the blast had a yield of 50 megatons, thought to be around 3,800 times as powerful as what was dropped on Hiroshima. And that bomb, by the way, side note from Simon here, that was initially intended to be 100 megatons, but they reduced its explosive potential because they were worried about it. So by the early 1960s, both the US and the USSR were in the possession of true apocalypse bricks. Thankfully, that was the height of the madness, and from there a series of treaties began to limit the testing, and eventually the numbers of nuclear weapons around the world dropped off. But what about non-nuclear weapons? It's easy to focus on nuclear weapons. What if you just want to blow up a small area,
I just don't
not
eat too
use
much.
those?
Okay.
A few truly massive, more conventional bombs also emerged during World War II. The British bomb known as Grand Slam 42 Submarine War. These earthquaking bombs were 10,000 kilograms and used to penetrate 40 meters into the ground before detonating. So the effect, as you might imagine, had more than a striking similarity to an earthquake. The United States developed the D-12 Cloudmaker between 1944 and 1948, but the massive 19,800 kilogram bomb was ever used in combat. In 2007, Russia claimed they developed what they called the father of all bombs, what I was saying about one-upmanship, which is to say it is more powerful than the mother of all bombs. Seems like that Cold War one-upmanship just continued, especially recently. However, since the specifications and indeed any evidence at all seems very light, we're not entirely sure about that one. The mother of all bombs has its roots in another bomb which came to the fore during the Vietnam War. The 6,800 kilogram BLU-82 bomb-line unit bomb that was heavily used during the US engagement in Southeast Asia was known as the Daisy Cutter, for the simple reason that it was initially used to clear landing zones for helicopters. Its role was expanded throughout the war and was sometimes used to hit specific targets such as warehouses, bridges, and even concentrations of troops. And it wasn't just in Vietnam that these bombs, which at the time were the biggest in operation anywhere in the world, were used. Daisy cutters landed inside both Laos and Cambodia, the second of which occurred during the last combat operation in Southeast Asia in 1975 against the Khmer Rouge. The rescue attempt of US merchant sailors held captive by the Khmer Rouge came to be known as the Maigres incident and is sadly remembered for the 3 US Marines left behind on Koh Tang after the evacuation, who were later executed, and the deployment of the Blue-82. Fast forward nearly 20 years, and the US again found themselves at war as they combed the mountains of Afghanistan in search of Osama bin Laden. Several Blue-82s were dropped on Taliban or Al-Qaeda targets in November and December of 2001. They were not simply used for the catastrophic damage they could cause, but also for the psychological impact that such a weapon has on enemy combatants. And this was exactly what the US had in mind with mother of all bombs. The bomb was first tested in combination with the explosive trigonal, which is a mixture of 80% TNT and 20% aluminium powder, on the 11th of March 2003 at Eglin Air Force Base in Florida. As far as we know, it went well, and it was tested again on the 21st of November 2003. Measuring 9.1 meters end to end, it is as long as the height of 4.5 Michael Jordans. Okay then, and it has a diameter of 103 centimeters. But it's the power inside that makes this special or awful, depending on how you'd like to look at a bomb. Its blast yield is 11 tons of TNT, and the mother of all bombs is primarily designed for soft or medium-soft targets, meaning it would not be effective in attacking a bunker, but would be great attacking an ISIS camp in the mountains. It's also important to put this bomb into perspective with large-scale bombing raids. During Operation Arclight in the Vietnam War, the United States Air Force conducted over 10,000 bombing raids, typically involving 2 groups of 3 aircraft. A standard mission dropped 168 tons of ordnance on an area measuring just 2.4 kilometers by 1.8 kilometers. Therefore, a single mission during this operation would have a similar impact as 10 to 17 mother of all bombs. It's a bit similar to but principally it's designed to be used in isolated instances. Dropping this kind of bomb is not as simple as just hitting a switch and crying bombs away as they used to do. The mother of all bombs needs to be deployed in a particular carrier. Its carrier would normally be the MC-130, but Lockheed Goliath that handles many heavy-duty missions for the US Air Force. At an altitude of 1,800 meters or above, the bomb, which sits on a cradle, is deposited out of the back bay door of the aircraft and begins its descent by parachute. Once the bomb is safely clear of the plane, it detaches from its cradle, and with the fins guiding it, the bomb uses its satellite guidance system to reach the target. The bomb detonates just 2 meters from the ground with a huge amount of oxygen burned, causing suffocation both above and below ground. Around 20 of these bombs have been manufactured out of McAllister Army Ammunition Plant in McAllister, Oklahoma since 2003, with the Air Force stating that each one costs $170,000, which in today's money is about $250,000, but many speculate this isn't entirely accurate. The total program cost is thought to be around $314 million, which included development, testing, etc. If that is the case, the cost per weapon would be roughly $16 million, and the figures here have been adjusted for inflation. This brings us back to April 13th, 2017, the only time the mother of all bombs has been used in combat operations. The previous administration had shied away from using it out of fear of causing significant civilian casualties, but 4 months after his inauguration, President Donald Trump authorized the use of the bomb against an ISIS cave and tunnel system in the mountains of Afghanistan. Casualty reports are varied, to say the least, with an Afghan army spokesman claiming 94 ISIS militants were killed, including 4 commanders. He went on to add that the strike had caused no civilian casualties. These reports have come into question, with some claiming that the number of militants could have been as low as 36, while others saying a teacher and his son were among the dead. In terms of defeating ISIS, it's not really clear how successful this attack was. If we used a low casualty number of 36, it would mean a cost of $450,000 to kill each ISIS militant. Whether that is worth it to military leaders, only they know. Pope Francis commented about the bomb shortly after its use. A mother gives life, and this one gives death. And as we call this device a mother, what is going on? And he wasn't alone. While the discussion of organizations like ISIS is evidence, what a surprise, the terrorists don't like being blown up with it. The use of such a weapon did not far from popular. Perhaps some assume that this kind of warfare is now in the past, but the truth is, it's never really gone. We just don't see it that often. Modern warfare has taken on a much more sterile, cold nature. Bombs and missiles can be launched hundreds, if not thousands of miles away, while drone operators sitting in the United States have the power to obliterate targets on the other side of the world. Even when we see war on television, we still see images of smaller scale attacks that might damage buildings, but often don't entirely destroy them. The truth is that these weapons are out there. Thankfully, we don't see them too often, but make no mistake about it, they are out there lurking. The fear of causing civilian casualties has probably never been higher, especially when it is the richest, most powerful country in the world striking one of the poorest. But I dare to say that this is a feat that comes from negative media coverage rather than a genuine regard for human life. The mother of all bombs is so monstrous, it has limited its use, and that is probably why we have only ever seen one strike using it. If anything, it is used as a psychological deterrent much more than an actual weapon. When the enemy carries the fearsome power of the gods, well, how can you possibly fight against it? So I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do hit that thumbs up button below, and don't forget to subscribe. Brand new videos on this channel 3 times a week. That's fantastic. Subscribe and you'll get those. And thank you for watching.
Today we're going to take apart the brand new iPhone 12 Pro. You already know the outside is new and different with its stainless steel sides, flush screen, and ceramic shield glass. But we know true beauty lies on the inside. The iPhone 12 Pro has a series of magnets just below the back glass, and I'm curious to see what those look like from the inside. One thing you really want to avoid though is letting your wallet or credit card get you close to the back of the phone. Magnets can ruin credit cards, unless of course you carry a shielded wallet. Huge thanks to Ridge Wallets for sponsoring this video. I got my own Ridge wallet about 2 years ago, and it's been in my front pocket ever since. I got the burnt titanium version, since titanium is one of the coolest metals in existence. Fun fact, do you know there's a hidden spider on a $1 bill? Cool trick to show your friends. All you need is $1 and some friends. If you don't have either, you can still optimistically get a new wallet and just hope for the best, like we're all doing for 2021. Mine's a bit worn after being in my pocket for 2 years, but the burnt titanium still looks pretty good. It can hold up to 12 cards plus cash. The Ridge wallet comes in 30 different styles, like aluminum, carbon fiber, forged carbon, and a limited edition topographical map of Half Dome. And you can choose between the money strap or the clip version. Since these are metal, of course, you probably don't want to carry them in the same pocket as your iPhone. But it's good to know that if they do ever end up next to each other on a table or desk or something, the magnets in your phone won't hurt the card, since the wallets are shielded. I'll leave a link down in the description. You can use the code JERRYRIG to get 10% off your order and free worldwide shipping. There's a lifetime warranty and a full 45-day return policy if you don't like it. I've definitely been happy with mine. Now it's time to take apart the new iPhone 12 Pro. Let's get started. The iPhone 12 Pro design has changed things up a bit this year, but of course it still has the two pinto screws down at the bottom. This time around, the iPhone 12 Pro is quite a bit more water resistant as well. It's still IP68, but tested at a depth of 6 meters in water instead of being 4 meters, that the iPhone 11 Pro was tested at last year. So there is quite a bit more adhesive, which requires more heat. And the screen being inlaid flush with the stainless steel housing also makes things a little more difficult. Long story short, the quickest way to learn something new is by using someone else's mistakes. And as I was lifting up the screen, I didn't go quite deep enough to grab the frame, and I accidentally stabbed the screen into the glass. And while I was able to get the screen off in one piece, that little stab in the wrong spot killed the screen entirely. So it's a good idea to learn from my mistakes if you ever need to open one of these up. The phone is still alive, but I've never hit the screen. Anyway, besides the fact that I just broke the phone in front of millions of people, there are two tri-point screws holding down a metal plate over the battery. I'll remove those, as well as the metal plate, so you can get to the real goods inside. I'll unsnap the battery ribbon just like a little Lego, along with the screen ribbon. There's another plate up top with 4 more tri-point screws that I'll remove before unsnapping the screen from the phone entirely. Replacement iPhone 11 Pro screens are around $170 right now, so I imagine the iPhone 12 Pro will be priced similarly when they start coming out, if Apple doesn't digitally lock them to the motherboard, making third-party repairs impossible, which they seem to be doing more of lately. There is a smorgasbord of other connectors revealed now that the screen is gone, connectors on top of connectors. So it looks like I'll just be unsnap, snap, 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 snapping them. Just for the leg. The last one is taped to the top of the motherboard, so I'll peel it back and move it out of the way before we head over to the cameras. There are 4 screws holding down the metal plate with the camera lens. The iPhones are always super complex inside, and this one requires at least 4 different screwdriver bits and a whole lot of organization, since pretty much each screw is a different size and shape. The top camera is the main one, the 12 megapixel sensor with optical image stabilization. Then we have the 12 megapixel ultra-wide camera with no OIS. And the bottom is 12 megapixel 2x optical zoom camera, which does have that OIS. You might be asking, hey Jerry, what about the LiDAR sensor? And that's a great question. We'll get to it in a second. Still inside of the phone, we have the front face ID and the 12 megapixel selfie camera. The LiDAR module is still screwed in and facing the rear of the phone. The range of the operation motherboard has 6 screws holding into place. The SIM card tray has a white water damage indicator sticker over the top grill. This sticker can be seen from outside of the phone if you just peek inside of your SIM card tray slot. Apple's pretty smart. Their phones might be water resistant, but they're not waterproof, and Apple can tell if they ever get wet when that sticker turns pink. There are 2 more ribbons at the bottom of the motherboard. And the whole thing can pull away from the phone. It's another double stacked cord again this year, with no thermal paste or copper heat pipe. It's just living its best life with no extra cooling. The LiDAR sensor is held in place by 2 more screws. LiDAR is actually pretty cool. It's like a depth sensor on steroids, able to bounce infrared light from one circle and measure the bounce back to calculate distances. It makes for some really fast 3D scanning and measuring. It's even found in some self-driving cars. Here in the iPhone, it'll probably mostly be used for really fast car focusing with the camera, but it's still cool to see futuristic technology in a mainstream smartphone. Now, the iPhone battery does have magical pull tabs, but I'm gonna bust your bubble and just break it to you that I basically broke all of them.
It's gone.
And had to pull the battery out with my bare hands instead. The battery is a bit smaller than last year's iPhone 11 Pro, sitting at just 2,815 milliamp hours. We also get our first look at the top side of the wireless charging cord.
Sort of a small battery.
The other side looks way cooler.
Very small
But
battery.
pressure pull out the loudspeaker. It's a gigantic mess down here with 10 more different sized and shaped screws and standoffs. But we finally do get to lift out the loudspeaker with its water-resistant mesh inside the opening, as well as a new massive orange gasket to help seal up that hole. The SIM card tray is modular, kind of fun. The Taptic engine is also a bit smaller this year, but interesting fact, Apple swapped a Lego-style connector right in the middle of the ribbon. Whoever said Apple doesn't innovate has obviously never seen this. Plus, there's this thing down here that looks super important, and I don't even know what it does. If the iPhone looks like a chaotic nightmare inside, it's because it is. The wireless charger is physically tied into the phone's side buttons, so I'll unscrew this metal bracket on the side and pull the mute switch through the frame. Then finally, after everything, we get our first look under the wireless charging set. And the glass is full of this ring of circular magnets around the outside. It's rather brilliant of Apple to use magnets to perfectly position the 2 coils on top of each other. Instead of using one large circle magnet, it's actually made up of 18 smaller, more rectangular magnets. Apple has said that every single magnet used in the iPhone 12 is recycled, which is awesome. Getting rid of the charging brick headphones and making the box smaller is also supposed to help out the environment. Fun fact though, creating a brand new smartphone consumes almost as much energy as using a smartphone for an entire decade. So since Apple has over 1 billion active iPhones on the planet right now, if they really wanted to help the environment, they'd make their phones easier to repair. I mean, let's be honest, making the box smaller is peanuts compared to how much energy we could save by just using our phones for an additional year or two. Not much changes between each new version of the phone anyway. Of course, every step towards helping the environment is a good step, but I would like to see Apple facilitating repairs instead of just locking every component to the motherboard and having people buy new phones. Which seems to be their current trend. The outside of the glass can be scratched away.
God.
Not a very good company.
The wireless charger. Apple could make one of the coolest clear phones of all time with this coil, but they didn't. So I did. Every real detail from the inside of the phone can now be seen on the outside, without voiding your warranty. Even the magnets. We can see the magnets, the charging coil, and even the water damage indicator sticker here on the SIM card tray. And if we bring over the magical magnetic MagSafe charger, we can see how the two work together. The charging coil plugged into the wall creates a small energy field that the receiving coil can receive. Science is pretty cool. I'll leave a link for my teardown skin down in the video description, along with the red wallet, and I'll get this thing put back together and working again once I have a replacement screen. Let me know what you think of Apple's new charging system. Would you ever buy a clear iPhone? Let me know down in the comments. Come hang out with me on Instagram and Twitter, and thanks a ton for watching. I'll see you around.
Make lots of money.
Remember when you evaluated on like, you know how smooth it was when you were swiping from one page to the next? The iPhone 4. This was my daily driver for like almost 3 years. And that is why I'm so excited to check out the iPhone 12. I mean, we haven't seen an update to Apple's design for the iPhone since the iPhone 10. And before that, it had been, I don't know, about 17 years since they had updated the design that they originally introduced with the 6. So here in front of me, I have the iPhone 12 and iPhone 12 Pro. Unfortunately, we don't have the Pro Max or the Mini yet, but surely we will get our hands on them in due time.
I don't care.
Oh, right.
Bullshit. I think Apple's really not very good.
Yeah, so that's why the door not even want you to hide yourself.
No, but that's me. That's you. Yeah, that's me. I can stream now.
Oh my God.
That's why I got the USB and all that shit there. Wait a minute, I'm not streaming live now. Hello? Wait a minute, I'm not streaming live now. I thought I shut it off.
Oh my God.
That's funny. Oh yeah.